Today, we're going to practice a sequence that I've had requested by several of my students who are runners and cyclists. They like a sequence that can help work on their hips, their IT bands, and their hamstrings. I recommend that you practice this sequence after doing a few rounds of sub-salutes, just to make sure that your body has become warm throughout. So, once you finish that, go ahead and come on into a downward facing dog. From our down dog, we're going to take a second just to connect with our mat. Palms root firm into the floor, sending weight throughout our hand. Heels sink towards the ground, lengthening the legs. And if you have tight hamstrings, you may have a bend in the knees here, and that's going to be perfectly fine. If your hamstrings are more open, you can allow your heels to sink closer to the mat. From here, we're just going to inhale and raise our heels, lifting up onto the ball mounts of the feet, keeping our arms and shoulders strong. As we exhale, heels sink back down towards the mat. Inhaling as you raise the heels. Exhaling as you sink back towards the floor. Another breath here. Good. Looking forward, we're going to go ahead and shift our left foot to the top of the mat, dropping our right knee down. So we're going to set up to kind of work on a lunge. Let's get our lunge set up. So from a low lunge, we want our knee to stack over the ankle. And our hips to be squared forward, our shoulders to be squared forward. You should be feeling a stretch through the right hip flexor here. If you're not feeling much happen, you can take your hands to the low back and guide the hips forward from that point. This allows the hips to open up a little bit more. Watch this left knee, make sure it doesn't push too far past the toes. It's okay if it's a little bit forward of the ankle, as long as it's comfortable for your knee. Back toes are tucked or relaxed. Tucked will help protect your joints a little better, so keep that in mind. From here, bring your arms on up, shoulders are relaxed. We're going to inhale and lengthen our spine. Exhale and soften our shoulders. Continue to stay strong in our core. Let the hips relax forward, opening up the hip flexors until you feel a comfortable amount of stretch. Remember that it could be different today than yesterday. It could be different than anyone else's, and that's fine because it's yours. Inhale, lift up. As you exhale, bring your hands to the inside of that left foot. And we're going to walk it over to the edge of the mat. So my left foot is all the way at the edge of the mat. My toes are pointing forward here. Knees still on the mat with the right leg. Toes tucked or relaxed. We're going to take our right hand and step off of the mat onto the floor. So if you step onto the floor with your hand, you feel really off center, it feels kind of funny, you can always grab a block and set your hand on top of the block instead of putting it all the way on the floor. This is up to you, it's an option. Remember that your blocks do have a couple of heights that you could use here. So if you're using a block, feel free to keep it underneath your right hand. If the hand on the floor feels comfortable, then go there. Hips are continuing to sink forward. Left toes and knee are continuing to point forward. Once we get set here, we're going to take our beautiful left hand, reach out in front of us, and then watch it as it traces back and forward. You can make straight lines, you can make curly cues, you could write your name if you want. All we're doing right now is distracting ourselves from how deep our hips are stretching. After a few breaths here, when your hand reaches back, see if you can raise those right toes. Maybe today we just wave at our toes. Maybe today we can high-five our toes. Maybe today we can get a hold of them using a strap or our own hand. If you can hold onto the foot comfortably, and the hips are relaxing, your body's okay, you could start to bring it closer to your glutes. This opens up the hip flexor and quad much more deeply, so I advise that you don't force this, especially in the knee. If it feels comfortable to bring your heel to the glute, do. If it feels more comfortable to leave it away, then do that. Once you find a comfortable amount of stretch, continue to lengthen your spine, relax your shoulders. And take another big breath. When you're ready to let go, release the foot gently. Bring both hands to the inside of that left foot again on the mat. We'll tuck our right toes, lift the knee, and go ahead and slide that left foot back to down dog. Feel free to walk it out. If you'd like to take a vinyasa here just to unwind, you can always add one in. This helps keep the heat up in our bodies. as well as kind of gives us our body a second to unwind and relax from the last stretch. We're going to repeat that on the second side. Right foot moves forward, left knee comes down. We'll start with that low lunge again, toes tucked or relaxed. Hips square and release towards the floor. Know that both sides can be a little bit different. They usually change from day to day. Once we get set here, we're going to bring our arms up, shoulders are relaxed. This time, if you'd like to lift through your heart and take a tiny back bend, you can, kind of moving more towards a crescent lunge position. If you'd like to keep the spine straight, that's always an option. Let's breathe. Nice deep Ujjayi breath, inhaling and exhaling through your nose, making that deep Darth Vader sound. Take a great big inhale. As you exhale, hands are going to move to the inside of that right foot. We're going to walk it all the way over to the outer edge of the mat. Again, toes point forward, knee points forward. As we step our left hand off of the mat onto the floor, remember that you could set it up on a block if putting your hand all the way down on the floor doesn't feel right on this side. Always welcome to change, to choose what feels the best. As our hips relax forward, careful not to let them kind of stick back behind us here. Melt forward through the hips, through the low back center. Let your toes be tucked or relaxed. And the right hand is just as beautiful as the left, so we're going to watch it as it reaches forward and back. Just at your own pace, maybe moving with your breath. Sweeping, opening up the shoulders and the chest, letting the hips melt forward. And the next time your hand reaches back behind you, you can bend at the knee. And again, maybe on this side, you can only wave at the foot. It's different. Maybe on this side, you can kind of high-five it. Maybe on this side, you can comfortably hold the foot. If you'd like to use a strap around the ankle and hold on to the strap, you're more than welcome to take that option as well. Easing the heel towards the glutes until you feel a comfortable amount of stretch. Notice on this side, it's a little tighter for me today, so I'm not going as far. I continue to lengthen my spine and keep my shoulders relaxed. Nice deep breaths. You may notice here that my toes and knee are angled slightly to the right. They went there on their own. It's comfortable for my body. I'm okay with that. As you exhale, releasing the foot gently to the mat. We're going to bring our hands back onto the mat. Tuck the left toes, lift the left knee, right foot slides back. And again, you can hang out in down dog or you can take a vinyasa. That's up to you and your practice. If you're kind of just want to focus on opening up the hips today, you're not too worried about getting those vinyasa flows in, you don't have to do it. It does help keep things warm though. So from here, what we're going to do is keep our palms grounded, keep our heels connected. You have the option of just sliding the left knee forward, or you have the option of extending the left leg up. I like extending the leg up, it gives me a better stretch, so palms connect, arms are strong, right heel sinks towards the mat. If you do open your hips, let's keep our hips square today. So both hip points point towards the floor, and we think about making our leg longer, so try to grow from your hip through the thigh, knee, calf, and ankle. Reach, and when you're ready, we're going to shift our wrists over the shoulders and bring the knee right towards the left wrist. So our left knee forward, toes kind of move over to the right side of the mat. We're getting set up for pigeon. So right knee comes down, toes relax behind us, and you can kind of wiggle and work your way into this until it feels comfortable. You may notice that your hips are kind of up off the mat here. It may not be super comfy. We're going to square off before we add props. The way I like to square my hips is to take my opposite hand, so right hand today, to the outside of the left knee. Take my left hand and reach back. Maybe I can just reach back, maybe I can reach all the way back and hold on to the outside of that other leg. If you get this, lift up through the crown of your head and twist. Wiggle so that that right hip comes forward slightly. This should set you up so you're pretty square. Once you're set up, if you notice that that left hip is up off the floor, any at all, grab a block, grab a blanket, grab a friend, and lay them underneath there. Right leg relaxes behind us. Fingertips face forward, lengthen. Reach forward with your heart, and you can start to lower down if you choose. Remember, this is always an option. So if you start to fold down and you decide, too much, you can stay up tall. If you bring your elbows down and you don't think you want to come to the floor today, you can place your forearms onto a block. Keep the shoulders out of your ears. Don't let yourself kind of sink into this. Continuing to walk into this as much as your body feels comfortable. Knowing that laying all the way down is an option here. Okay? It just changes the stretch as we move through towards the floor. So find what feels right for you today. Maybe not what feels like the most advanced level of the pose, but something that feels like a comfortable stretch. Shoulders are always relaxed out of our ears. Gaze is kind of low. We don't want to look straight up because that compresses our cervical spine. Just some nice, easy breaths from here. Knowing that if you've been practicing pigeon for a long time and you're not really feeling as much sensation anymore, something that you can do to activate the leg a little bit more is flex that foot as much as you can. So the left foot this time is going to be super flexed. And then you're going to push it on the floor with your pinky toe so much that you lift your heel off the ground. There's a little space here. So this is relaxed. Nice stretch. Flexing the foot, pressing into the pinky toe so the heel comes up. We just activated everything inside that leg and hip. Yes, it's difficult because you went from a passive stretch to an active stretch, but it will give you that extra little bit if you've been looking for it in pigeon. We're going to go ahead and come out of the side by bringing our hands onto the mat. Tucking our right toes, lift your right knee. I want you to stop right here. We're going to go into a stretch for our IT band. So with your hips lifted, lift the knee a little bit. We're going to slide our left foot straight through, coming right toward you. So with that leg extended, you could have it back a little bit. You can have a slight bend in the knee. Try to straighten the leg as much as you can and have it as parallel to the front edge of your mat as possible. Once you get it there, you have the option for some push-ups. No, not today. Bring the hips all the way down. And you can kind of stay up on the fingertips for just a second. Notice what's happening in that back foot. Mine stays tucked. I've practiced it a while. It feels comfortable now. If this is not comfortable, relax the foot. It's okay. Choosing what you want to do with those back toes, take your shoulders and square them so that they're facing down towards the mat. This is a huge twist in our core. Really, really good for us. Still flexing through that left leg, yes? Good. Once we've squared everything off, you have the option to stay up here because it's intense, or to ease into the forearms. Again, your forearms could choose to come onto a block instead of coming all the way to the floor. You also have the option to lay all the way down. So go ahead and keep squaring your shoulders off, keep that twist in your belly, and take it all the way to the floor. I'm going to come up to here today because that's what felt the best. Still tucked with my right toes, flexed with my left foot, relaxed with my shoulders, breath is steady. When you're ready to come out of this, bring your hands back onto the mat. Tucking those back toes. Now we're going to lift our hip. Left leg can slide back through. Go ahead, feel free to extend it to a big three-legged dog. Down dog means fire hydrant if that's where you want to go. Or if you just need to shake that thing out, shake it out. Because that was pretty intense, that IT stretch. Welcome to take another vinyasa here. And set up for the second side. The first time we came into our pigeon, we did it from a three-legged dog. I'm going to show you the other option here to come into pigeon from all fours. If three-legged dog is not your thing, we're going to take our right knee and just slide it forward towards the wrist. Right toes kind of kick off to the side of the mat, and then we can walk our left knee and toes back from there. Okay, so that's a little bit simpler option. It keeps you closer to the ground. Always welcome to do the big three-legged dog sweep if that feels better to you. As we set up, again, we're going to square things off. Bring my left hand across to the right leg. Right hand reaches behind me, maybe holding on to the outside of that other leg. As you lift up, go ahead and square a little more. That left hip comes forward slightly. Once you feel like you've squared it off, it may not be as what you're used to if you haven't been squaring your hips off as much. But if you need something underneath that right glute, put something underneath there. Support yourself. Get all set up, left leg relaxed. Shoulders relaxed. When you're ready to walk forward, walk forward. Know that you can hang out right here. On the hands is good. That's plenty of stretch. It's right where you want it. If you'd like to go a little bit deeper, we could walk our forearms to a block or to the floor. If you want to lay all the way down, you can lay all the way down, just like we did a moment ago with our sleeping warrior. Lots and lots of options here. As long as your shoulders are relaxed and your hips are stretching, then you're there. Remember that if you want a little more, pigeon's feeling kind of old for you, you can flex that right foot, press the pinky toe side of the foot into the ground, and lift that right heel a little bit. So this leg, just like I showed you on this side, that activates everything up through the knee and out through the hip. Makes it an active stretch now, which is going to be a little bit more work, but that's okay. It's going to help you find the stretch that you're looking for. Let's take just a couple more big breaths from here. We're going to go to that dying warrior pose as we bring our hands back onto the mat. Left toes tucked under, we lift the knee. If you did use a proper block, now's the time to move it. As we lift our hips, right leg shoots straight through. So now you see what it looks like from the other side. My leg is straight and it's extending out to the side. I'm going to bring my hips down onto the mat. Kind of settle in here. Back toes, they're tucked today. That feels good. I square my shoulders, rotate the body. It's a big, big twist in your core. Twists are good for us. They're delicious, so take it. If you want to walk into the forearms, you can. If you want to lay all the way down, you're welcome to do so. Remember here, flex that right foot. Pull those toes back towards the shin on your extended leg, keeping it active. This is targeting our IT band. It runs right down the outside of our hip and thigh. So it's something that's a little difficult to stretch, but it's something that needs stretched. So once we're getting into that, we're finding that place, take a second to just breathe with the shoulders relaxed, with the twist happening in your core. When you're ready to come back out, we're going to bring our hands back onto the mat, lifting our hips. Right leg again is going to stretch all the way up, big three-legged dog. You can let the hip roll open. You can bend the knee, drop the foot behind you here. You can shake it out if it just needs to be shaken out here. Once you loosened everything up, let's bring our knees into the mat. Then we're going to kick our feet out in front of us. So we're making our way to a reclining position. Take your time, ease on down. If you want to do some core work here, then drop down one vertebrae at a time. If you want to use your legs to help you, hold on to them. No matter which option you chose, we're going to come onto our back and hug the knees in close. Hold behind the thighs or on top of the shins. We don't want to put pressure straight down on our knee joints. They're not really built for that. Shoulders are relaxed, maybe even tucked away a little bit. Welcome to rock side to side, massaging the low back and the hips. Once you feel like you've loosened up a little bit, we're going to go ahead and let our feet touch down on the mat and slide both legs all the way out. Take a second to just connect your hips to the mat, maybe ground yourself a little better. We're going to work on half happy babies here. If you prefer to do a full happy baby, you're welcome to come all the way in with both legs. We're going to bring our right knee in to start, if you're staying with me, and you can hold on to the back of the thigh or on top of the shin. That depends on how open your hips and legs are. As you hug it in, shift it off to the right a little bit so that you have plenty of room for your ribs and room to breathe here. So we're hugging it in and to the right, opening up some space. This may be it for you. You may decide, this is good, I don't want any more. Stay right here. If you feel like, I could go for a little bit more stretch, bring your right arm to the inside of that right knee. You can take your peace fingers and hook over the big toe, getting that yogi toe lock on the big toe. Once you're hooked in, left arm can relax and ground you. You could hold on to your left hip to help keep it connected to the floor. And you can draw the knee outward and down taking that flexion in the foot towards the ceiling a little bit. So we're in a half happy baby here. Again, if you prefer to do a full happy baby, you're welcome to make that decision. I like half sometimes just so I can focus a little more on what's happening. Hips are connected to the floor. My knee is moving out and down. My hip is opening up here. Shoulders still grounded and relaxed. Nice deep breaths. From here, if you feel comfortable with the stretch moving into the hamstring a little bit, bring your knee back in, and you can try to extend that right leg while holding onto the big toe. This is going to be a pretty big hamstring stretch for most of us. A second option is to pick up your strap. Use my imaginary strap today. We're going to hook it over the ball mount of the foot, and then you can extend it up towards the ceiling, holding one side of the strap in each hand. Okay, that's an option. Holding onto the big toe is an option as well. Do what feels the best for you, not what feels like it's right. Do what feels good. So as you find that stretch in the hamstring and the leg, you could have a little bit in the knee if you need. Just open up, shoulders staying relaxed towards the ground. Left leg and hip connected with the floor. Noticing that pace, that rhythm in our breath. When you're ready to come out, bend the knee, release the strap or release your grip. Let that right leg slide all the way out on the floor. And take a second just to notice, is the right leg different than the left leg now? If you notice a change, notice. If you don't feel anything different, that's fine too. We're going to bring the left leg in, and again, hugging behind the thigh or on top of the shin. That's going to be up to you. We want to draw in and then off to the left so that you have plenty of room to breathe, room for your ribs here. So find that space where we just stretch for a moment, keeping the right leg down, right hip connected with the floor. Take a few even, easy breaths. Feel like you're ready to move a little deeper, you can take that left hand to the inside of the left knee. Again, welcome to hook the big finger and the middle finger over the big toe. If you get onto the toe, right hand can come down and connect with the hip. Hold it on the floor, or we can just relax the right arm at our side. Welcome to take this half happy baby a little deeper by pulling the foot towards the ceiling. Keep it flexed so it looks like you could step straight up on the ceiling, drawing the knee down and out. This helps open up the hip on this side. Welcome to continue making that hugging motion down and out as long as your right hip stays connected, rooted to the floor. Nice soft breaths, shoulders still relaxed, neck, head, face relaxed. From here, we can go ahead and either extend the leg holding onto the big toe or pick up our strap there and extend the leg as we choose. Finding that hamstring stretch, right leg, right hip connected with the floor, shoulders are relaxed, maybe even tucked away a little bit. Welcome to increase this stretch as much as your hamstring feels comfortable. Remember that we don't want to force this to happen, and a little bit in the knee is always okay. Bringing the heel back in. We're going to let our leg be extended all the way out on the floor. We're going to bring our arms down by our sides, palms face up, shoulders tuck away behind our back. You know what time it is. Feet hip distance apart, slightly wider. Big toes flop open to the sides as we make some adjustments to find comfort here. Head, neck, face relax. Go ahead and close your eyes. Even if you don't feel like you have time for Savasana, if you just got done with a run and you wanted a good stretch, just take 10 deep breaths here. After those breaths, you can decide if you want to stay longer or move on with your day.